Hi there, welcome back. So navigating the data landscape can be pretty challenging, even as someone who's worked in analytics and is studying analytics at grad school, but I wanted to make this video just to break down different roles within analytics and some that maybe aren't as talked about as much within kind of the YouTube data analytics community.
Okay, so let's dive right in. So I wanted to start off by talking, just about the data landscape in general and the different roles within data teams usually. And I'm speaking, from the perspective of tech companies because that's where I've mostly worked, but this can definitely vary in terms of the industries you're in. But just as a general guideline, these are sort of the roles that encompass a data team in an organization. So that could be data analysts, data scientists, business analysts, and there's also sort of new kind of field called analytics engineering that I've seen pop up in the recent, few years. But within all of these roles, there tend to be a lot of nuance and, there tend to be a lot of variation within the titles, but that really just depends on the company and the industry that you're in, I think. For example, business analysts at some companies might be called data analysts at others, or business intelligence analyst or business intelligence engineers. So there's a lot of, variation in terminology. It just really depends what the company, usually uses. And so it's really about kind of digging into the job descriptions at that point, because that'll give you kind of a better understanding of what exactly the job entails, even if the title might be a little bit confusing or a little bit misleading. Let's start off with talking about data analysts. So obviously I'm struggling here to create a circle. I don't know why, but data analysts are often the common catch-all sort of title that you'll see in most organizations. They'll have a data analyst. In tech, this kind of doesn't exist as much just because, we have things like business analysts and very specialized analysts, depending on what team you're on. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But data analysts typically in an organization could be working with almost any team. It's just kind of a very general title. And the main kind of skills that a data analyst needs to know are data visualization, dashboard building, and the main tools or technologies that you'll typically be working with are SQL, as well as dashboarding or data visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI, Looker, and in some cases Excel, depending on the company. So that's a little bit about data analysts. And then in terms of business analysts, they're pretty similar, but there's a pretty distinctive component to business analysts that doesn't exist in data analytics, which is the business strategy portion of it. So business analysts could also be called business intelligence analysts, business intelligence engineers, or business intelligence developers, although the latter two are usually more technical and more along the lines of analytics engineers at tech companies. But typically business analysts or business intelligence analysts work on a specific team within an organization, and their job is to analyze data and support their business partners in developing or recommending a business strategy. So this is, the main differentiator between data analysts and business analysts. Sometimes data analysts may also be asked to, give recommendations or comment on, strategic developments, but business analysts, this is a major skill of business analysts and something that you will do pretty much every day. And because of that, you're often will be working with more people. You'll be working with more teams. There just is more cross-functional collaboration as a business analyst, because you have a lot more people that you answer to and work with, because you're on the analytics and tech side of things, but you're also on the business side. And then data analysts, the tools that you typically work with are SQL, data visualization, dashboarding, but also a big portion of this role is also the strategy and communications aspect of it, which I feel like is something that you pretty much like learn and develop on the job, but oftentimes, in university, if you're taking business classes or something, that would help in building up those skills as well. Then we have data scientists, which is, I will admit, probably the category that I know the least about. But here is where you get more into the technical aspect of data analytics and data science. And, there's really several different niches that you can go down in terms of data science. And that includes product data science, where you're working on product analytics and product usage data. And then more like machine learning engineering, where you're creating models and you're running machine learning models to, do different things. But obviously, I'm not an expert on all of these, but there's also others. So, I don't know exactly, but there will be others probably. Now we want to talk about the niches within analytics roles. So two things we talked about, like mostly data analysts and business analysts. What are the different niches within those roles? Like I said before, like they can exist on any different team. And oftentimes if they are to be a part of a specific team, they have different titles. So for example, product analysts or product data scientists, these are data analysts or data scientists that are specific to the product team in a company, so the product management organization. And what are their, main roles and responsibilities? Basically, to analyze data as it relates to product usage, the different customers, segmentation that's going on, like what are the differences between the groups of customers who are using your product, how are they using it differently, as well as to analyze like user journeys, which is basically just the steps that someone is taking within your application. Like I click on this page, then I go to this page, then I do this action. And so the main goal of a product analyst is to uncover insights related to product strategy and use these insights to, improve the product development process and make features and experiences that are better for the customer. Similarly, like the skill set is pretty, common amongst like a typical data analyst. You're using SQL data visualization tools, but like Tableau and Power BI, got too lazy to spell here, but there's also a couple additional tools like Mixpanel and Full Story that are very specific to product analytics and automate a large portion of the product analytics process, which are, commonly used for this purpose. And then on top of that, product analysts tend to be a little bit more technical. And so you're often using Python or R to run experiments or A/B tests. And so you would probably, need to know a little bit about data wrangling or data visualization within Python and R, and a little bit about machine learning modeling and stats as well. So some more niches within analytics include people analyst, as well as sales operations analyst, marketing analyst, and I think one that I missed here is supply chain analyst, which is pretty ironic because I used to work as a supply chain analyst, so I can't believe I forgot that, but that also like doesn't always exist at every company. It just depends on, if you're in a company where you are having a supply chain, I guess, and you sell actual physical products, so it's not as much of a thing as at software tech companies. And then healthcare analyst or healthcare data scientist. So these niches, pretty similar to, what I mentioned about data analyst and product analyst, but they're definitely focused on different niches. So I would say, like, if you're interested in any specific aspect of this, it's good to know, specific metrics within any particular domain, because obviously the metrics that you'll be looking at will be different if you're a product analyst versus a people analyst. So people analyst is specific to HR, and they're analyzing internal data on employees to improve the HR process or the hiring process or the onboarding process or things like that. The next one, which is sales operations. super similar, but it's specific to sales, and you're analyzing data that's specific to the sales organization and improving, sales strategy. How can we get more people to, engage in the sales process? How can we get them to buy the product? Things like that. And then marketing analytics is kind of similar to product analytics in specific because, you're looking at the efficacy of marketing tactics, and oftentimes A/B testing is a big portion of this as well because you'll be giving 2 different marketing campaigns to 2 different groups of customers, and you want to compare which one's performing better and why. And then healthcare analysts and healthcare data scientists. So this one's pretty industry specific rather than organization within the company specific. But it's worth noting that, healthcare analysts and data scientists work with very different types of data than the people that I mentioned before. And it's often a lot of very industry specific, domain specific knowledge. And the good thing about healthcare analytics and healthcare data scientists is that it's a really growing field, and you often don't have to deal with layoffs in the tech industry. And it's very interesting and important.
In case you're curious, my specific niche or area of interest is product analytics, and I've done a little bit of work in that in the past, so if you would like me to talk more about that, I'd be happy to. I hope this was helpful for you to understand sort of the different options within data analytics. I'm pretty much at the beginning of my journey. I know I've had some work experience in this domain before, but I feel like I'm still very much a beginner within the world of data science and data analytics, but I'm looking forward to, diving deeper into this world, and I know there's a lot of other people on this platform that provide really good content on this subject. So let me know what you think, and I hope this was helpful.